is Tuesday, March 5th, and I have just finished up some fasted cardio, which is the first time I've ever done it in my life. This is a pretty unusual day for me. I'll usually do my lift and then my cardio right after because I'm already at the gym and just knock it out and get it done. But I had no clients this morning, so I thought I would experiment and try fasted cardio for the first time. I did Lyle McDonald's stubborn fat protocol, just the fasted list. So I walked on the incline treadmill for like 45 minutes to get my burn, which was 200 calories. And this is why I don't do fasted cardio, because I'm just so slow. So you can see it's 11:51, it's almost noon, and I'm just now headed home. I gotta stop at Trader Joe's and get some groceries, and then I can head home and finally eat breakfast. So a pretty unusual day for me. I usually have breakfast around 10:30 sometimes, and now it'll probably be like 12:30. So I'm okay with that, though. Sometimes shortening the window of your meals gives you, you can just have fewer, bigger meals or eat more often, or I don't really subscribe to any like intermittent fasting protocol, but sometimes it works out that way and I don't care. So I'll also be heading back later today to do my lift. I've got a deload week this week. I recommend after a competition, most people take a deload. I have a blog post about it I can link below, but so yeah, this is the week after my competition, and I'm doing a deload. I'm gonna come back a little bit later and get my lift in, which is another rare thing for me. I usually never split it up into two. I'm not like a 2-a-day person, but I wanted to, one, experiment with some fasted cardio, and two, I can do lifts without food in me. Like walking on an incline is not tiring for me, so I can do that without food. But if I come into lift, even on a deload, like I just feel zapped if I don't have a giant meal. So I'd rather knock this out of the way, eat a giant meal, come back, do my lift with food in me for energy, and then eat another giant meal after. I like to really space my meals before and after my workouts. So that is the plan for today. Head home, get groceries, head home, eat, relax a little bit, head back to the gym, do my lift, and then I've got clients this evening. So that is the plan on this beautiful Tuesday. Talk to you later. Alright, here is my breakfast. I've got 2 pieces of cinnamon raisin toast, and that is coconut oil on it. I've got 10 grams there, and I like to spread it on like butter. Next up, I've got egg whites. This is 4 of them. A little bit of yolk got in there, and I like to use whole eggs just because liquid egg whites I think have a weird consistency. It like is watery to me, so I like to use regular eggs. And then here I've got my vitamins. I've got a fish oil tablet, a vitamin D, and a multivitamin. And then in here I've got 2 ounces of Fairlife milk, which I'm going to use for the cream in my coffee as soon as the French press is done. And it looks dirty because I just poured it in my dirty coffee cup from earlier. So that is breakfast. So I wanted to talk a little bit about fasted cardio and the evidence that we currently have either to support or reject it. The old reasoning for performing fasted cardio was that by performing it fasted, you were burning more fat, and therefore it would be more effective for fat loss. In 2014, Brad Schoenfeld et al. Published a study. It is called Body Composition Changes Associated with Fasted versus Non-Fasted Aerobic Exercise, which I will link below. And in their study, they found no significant differences between the fed and the fasted groups. And in the fitness world, there's always this pendulum swing, you know, things go one way, things go the other way, and it's at these two extremes. First, you have to do fasted cardio. Now over here, it's completely useless. But that was not the author's conclusion. Their conclusion was that it's not completely useless, and it may have some benefits for lean people looking to get very lean. So I'm going to quote from Brad's blog. It is lookgreatnaked.com. He says, "It has been speculated that the true benefit of fasted cardio is specific to very lean individuals, such as pre-contest bodybuilders who are trying to lose the last pound or two of stubborn fat. We cannot rule out such a possibility." He also notes that if an effect does exist, it would seem to be only meaningful to someone who is competing in bodybuilding or physique competition, where minute differences in fat mass can make the difference between winning or losing a competition. He also points out that it could be conceivable to have a negative effect. Lipid utilization over 24 hours was actually higher when eating prior as opposed to remaining fasted. Quote, "Thus, the best advice here would be to experiment and try to objectively determine what works best for you as an individual." That although there's evidence that performing cardio in the fasted state will burn more fat during the exercise, the body will switch the energy, the substrate that it's using for energy later in the day. So burn more fat during your fasted cardio, you burn more carbohydrate later in the day for fuel. You perform it in a fed state, and later in the day you burn more fat for fuel. So while you cannot do your own N=1 experiments on yourself and then extrapolate that information to everyone else as a population, you can and should do your own experiments on yourself and use what you find works for you in your own personal programming. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. I am seeing how my body responds to some fasted cardio and just experimenting with it. Another great resource is an article by Lyle McDonald on his site bodyrecomposition.com. This article is titled "Fasted Cardio and Fat Loss Q&A." And this goes hand in hand with his book, The Stubborn Fat Solution, which I highly recommend anyone purchase to really learn the in-depth process of getting rid of stubborn fat. So he points out that there's 3 things that must happen in order to burn fat. Number 1 is mobilization, number 2 is transport, and number 3 is the oxidation, which is the actual fat burning. And he states that the mobilization, which is actually getting the fatty acid out of the fat cell so the body can use it and then burn it, that mobilization actually becomes the issue as people get lean. So if the body can't mobilize the fat, once you're very lean and you have these stubborn fat stores or pockets on your body, if your body's having a hard time even mobilizing the fat, the idea is that you will start to lose lean body mass, as that may be more easily accessible as an energy source. So you may find yourself losing muscle while pursuing greater fat loss. And the recommendations and protocols that Lyle McDonald puts forward in his book are really for improving the mobilization issues that very lean people run into. He provides this at the end of his article. For the lean trying to get very lean, 15% body fat or less for men, 22% body fat or less for women. Various strategies, including fasted cardio, are probably going to be required to offset the mobilization and blood flow defects. It goes on to say, but for folks who aren't that lean yet, the folks in the middle range of body fat levels, it really doesn't matter. The best time to do cardio will be whenever it will most consistently get done, whether that's first thing in the morning, fantastic. If not, also fantastic. It's more important in this situation that it gets done than when it gets done. So myself personally, I fall into that category of what he recommends, 19 to 22% body fat for women. I am pretty lean. I am a contest bodybuilder. I am dieting for competition purposes, and that 1 or 2% effect that it may have really does matter on stage. So here I am. I'm considering the body of evidence within my context, which is personal to me. We have a ton of evidence that sleep is important, so I'm definitely considering my sleep considerations when deciding whether or not to perform any fasted cardio. If it works out with my schedule where I can still get a decent amount of sleep, maybe wake up on my own and then get to the gym and perform some fasted work, I may do that. But I also know that I am a person who needs my sleep. I don't do well when I don't get enough, and I personally am going to prioritize sleep because I know that that does make a difference for me. I think the intensity of cardio that you're doing may play a role too. So from the Schoenfeld article, they state that you might actually be able to work harder during your cardio when you have a meal in you. For me, performing lists or some low intensity, I can perform it just fine fasted. So, you know, it's walking on the incline and I don't drag ass if I haven't eaten. So for me, that is not an issue when I'm doing low intensity work. So it's probably not affected by being fasted. I'm also using a heart rate monitor to track my calorie burn, so I'm getting the same burn regardless. And then the last consideration that I'm thinking of is personal preference in splitting your lift and your cardio. So some people might be driven crazy by the thought of doing a 2-a-day, you know, cardio in the morning and their lift at night, whereas other people might actually like that setup. I'm falling into that category right now of enjoying it. I can go get my cardio out of the way, get it done for the day, and then do my lift later, and I'm not spending, you know, 3 hours at the gym at a time. I can make it into smaller, more manageable chunks, and I think my mindset is totally affected too when I go into the gym and I know that I just have to lift, that I can give that my all, and I'm not like trying to save any extra energy at the end for cardio. I just get to be done and go home and eat. So that is where I am at. I think it's super, super important to consider your own personal context when making decisions for your planning and programming, and consider what works for you. Look at the evidence for sure, and then test that on yourself and see what you like. Because when they do studies, you know, there's usually a bell curve of responders where you have some, maybe some non-responders. Here's most of the people in the middle, and then maybe some hyper-responders over at the other extreme. And until you experiment with yourself, you can't be sure where you'd fall on that spectrum. So those are my thoughts on fasted cardio for now. And I am always open to changing my beliefs as I see evidence. So there we go.